Hey, what's up guys? So in this video we're going to animate an intro. So this is the intro right here. The volume is not too loud. So and here's Blender. So let me just show you guys the first rough form. I did a couple of thumbnails on what I wanted. So my channel is basically animation channel, and it is mostly well not mostly entirely digital animation. So I wanted a stylus in my character's hand, and I wanted the whole animation to be hand animated. So there you go. So this is the rough way. So this is very typical in hand drawn animation. So you draw everything in very rough style, and there you go. Well, let me just show you guys how to like add all of these keyframes before jumping into this thing like nose deep or whatever the saying is. So we're starting a new file. Let's just set to new. Your layer is going to be mostly the same. So these are the layers. You can also access these layers from here, and you just draw on there. So this is our first thing. So these are the brushes that you want to use. So these are the layers. You can draw on different layers. So this one is color layer. So these are premier layers. You can just delete them and start and make your own by just clicking on this plus icon, add a new layer. Or you can just use this layer panel, which is more detailed, to make your layers and stuff. And you can also expand this. So if you're using like 15 or 16 layers, you can use this panel instead of using a timeline. This is a rough animation, and we also have a time lapse for this. Let me just play it for you guys very quickly. So in close-up you don't want to do like very primitive shapes, so that's why I'm just starting with the head shape instead of drawing a cube or a circle first and then putting the construction zone. This is me just experimenting with next pose. I did not decide on this part. I just knew in my mind that the character will come out of screen like head first and then just do the action. But I hadn't figured out how he's like going to actually perform this, so I'm just experimenting with that. So this is when the thumbnailing comes in. I did not do any thumbnails on it, that's why I'm just redrawing and then scaling and doing every like adjustment on it to get a good idea of what I'm going to do. So this is the next shot. Instead of drawing keyframes in between, I'm just establishing a shot where the character from this stage is going to end up. So I'm just writing down the rough stuff. I'm going to eventually replace these things with actual fonts and stuff, as you can tell. So this is me trying to just draw a character. So I'll just draw first pose with all the like all the expressions and stuff, and when we move forward I'll just draw primitive shapes to just get the motion right, and then we'll just draw the what do you call it, the expressions and all the clothing details in the tie down phase. So let's just skip this. So this is me just doing the poses. Now I just came back to adjust everything so I can get the idea of motion. So like how it's going to look like in the whole context. So yeah, okay, I'm saying so a lot. Let me just, okay, so let's just move past this. So if you're seeing like anything like this big red circle, let me just try to get in that. So this is just okay, okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, this one. So this is, I'm in sculpting mode. Basically you can just adjust the strokes to like sculpting and move them around. So this is like liquify tool but better in Blender Grace Pencil. Okay, so let me just switch past this. Okay, so now after like what I mostly do in terms of timing is that I just draw all the keyframes on just without any adjusting any time in the key in the timeline. So I'll just do draw first keyframe, second keyframe, and third keyframe, and once I have all the keyframes and in betweens, then I'll just start adjusting the what do you call it, the timing. So this is what I'm doing right now. Let me just, yeah, okay, so now I'm moving the frames around and adding new keyframes and well, not keyframes, adding new in betweens in there. So if you're seeing the like these some of the keyframes are in different colors, this is because you can just mark the keyframes as let's just say, so like this is a keyframe, and if you want to mark it differently to like tell it apart from the keyframes and in betweens and breakdowns and stuff, you can just select this and press R, and then you can select like one of these options. They don't actually do anything, they are just for like visual purposes. So if I normally just I don't know, I don't use extremes. So extremes are the first and very last keyframe of the animation, so they are not very helpful. So I just use this red thing as a keyframe, and then I use keyframe as in between, well, as breakdowns, and then breakdowns are in betweens, since this does not have an in between in there. And then you can just use moving hold and jitter thing for whatever you like. So that's the other thing. Okay, so now we're playing, and okay, what was okay, so I was just writing down the notes for myself to get so like whenever I start, so I was taking break after this, so I just so this is the next day, or I mean next hour or something. I don't actually remember, this was very old. uh, yeah, so I'm just marking the keyframes, adjusting the position. So this is the in between phase between the close-up and the main framing shot. So I'm just adding in betweens for those to before I start tying them down. So let me just fast forward this. So this is just me fiddling around. So I did an experiment to get a sense of motion without worrying about in proportions and stuff. So I just did a quick animation on a different layer. So as you can see, I'm using a new layer for this. I'm not replacing the old animation or anything. To get a good idea, then I just delete the old layer if once I know how I'm going to do this, and then I'll just start the work on my original layer. So yeah, so this is the time lapse, and this is the final final product of the first time lapse. And this is what we have. If I just play this for you guys, I don't know if the timings are correct or not. Yeah, so this is what we have so far, and then the next stage is going to be the tie down phase. So just ignore these layers for now. I'll just come back to these later. So okay, so we have this tie down phase. So the character comes up, and so if you're seeing that these parts are clipping out, so these are not actually clipping out. I had the camera in there, so I don't draw past the camera, but I have disabled the camera by pressing 0 on the numpad to because the camera has animation on it, so I don't want this to interrupt with the actual this pass. Let's lock all the layers, and now we have this. Okay, let me just zoom into it a bit. Yeah, okay. So if you have any questions about something that I'm doing, right, for example, I'm just scrolling past it, or if I'm zooming it in with the tablet or the pen, if you have questions about this, you can just ask in the comments, because I don't really know like what is your level in like skill level in this, or how much you know about this. So this is basic. This is not a grease pencil tutorial. This is how to make an intro. Well, it's not in how to make an intro. This is just me break it down how I made my intro. The title was just for clickbait, because people search like all kind of tutorials and stuff, and tutorials do well for most of the part. And then as you can see, I have tied down, not cleaned up, tied down most of the keyframes and added some additional in-betweens in them. So if I just play it for you guys, you can see that it is a bit smoother and like this. Okay, now if we just compare this to the rough phase, well, we can do side by side on this, can we? So I just played one by one. So this is the rough pass, and then this is the tie down pass. Oh, oops. Okay, this is the tie down pass. So this is the most part that I worked on, like this. So I made this motion smooth because this was the main part of the animation, this string. Yeah, so let me just zoom into this, and yeah, okay. And then he catches back, and then in the cleanup phase I'll add in between these frames because they are looking choppy like right now. And this is what we have. And for the time lapse, we can just let me just show you guys what the time lapse looks like. Time lapse, yeah. Okay, so this is the time lapse, and now I'm just I have like brought down the opacity of rough layer to 20%, and then I'm just cleaning this up. So I actually came back I actually came back to this project after a long time. So I had to like warm up my stuff and get familiar with the character once again. So I'm just drawing it very roughly, and I'm not thinking about anything. I actually had a video in the background, so this is not looking like our character, but I'll just try to make it. So I am like looking at the character sheet constantly and then just comparing the spacing between features. So a very simple trick to get consistent look in your character is by looking at the distance between the features. So if we just take a look at this one, the first one, so this one, so this had a very long face shape, and the hair shape was very squished in because I was drawing this from memory to warm up. But when I started doing the actual cleanup, I intentionally, well, not intentionally, I just looked at the character sheet and I noticed that the shape is overall wider, and there's a very clear amount of distance between this eyebrow and this thing. So I kept this in mind, and then you can just keep comparing this with this and this with that and just get the character consistent. Actually very struggled with this in my beginner phase. Well, I'm still in sort of my beginner phase, but I have gotten comfortable with most of the things that I do. So yeah. Okay, so this is we are just drawing the key. Well, this is not very interesting, so I'll just skip past this. Let me just speed this up. Yeah, so once we have this first pose, we can just start flipping back and forth and draw the next pose. And so the reason well, you can see that I'm animating, but I'm not using any the onion skin. This is because when you're using onion skin, you don't really see the motion in the character, so you have to learn to flip back and forth and just turn off the onion skin. And onion skin actually can hinder you from keeping the character consistent. So that's why I'm just flipping back and forth and checking for the volumes of overall volume of each shape. So I'm just seeing, I'm not looking at the 3D. Well, this is a lot of flipping. I'm not looking at the 3D form, I'm just looking at the actual overall shape to keep the volume consistent in each flip. And once I have the shape, then I can just start adding details to make it look 3D. So yeah, so this is just a thing. So I just draw over the character. So this is me trying to figure out the pose, face pose for this character. So for this pose, I'm sorry. So I was thinking that we could do it like this, or maybe we could just draw the face from very side for very profile view. So I eventually ended up using this profile view, and then I can just delete all of that stuff and start drawing this. Well, normally I would just cut out all the experimenting phase, but I just wanted to keep it in the video because this is going to be a raw video and I don't want to edit it that much, because editing is very fun if you have time, but editing takes a long time, and I do have to release a video sooner or later. So I just try to stay away. I'm trying to stay away from the editing as much as possible. And in one interesting fact, let me just stop you guys there. And so you saw my character in the beginning. So that was very well, I don't know how I can show you guys this, but okay, let me just copy this and put this on. Let me just pause this and show you guys an interesting thing. Okay, so this is what we have right now. Okay, let me just move this away and just show you guys. So this is the OBS screen that I have, and these are the media controls. So this is a media source. So this image is a media source, and then you can just slide it back and forth to make it say something. So let's say I'm trying to say hello guys. Okay, that was not a good example. So hello guys, my name is Zen. Well, actually my name is Zen. I have not said my name aloud in most of my video. Well, not all of my videos. I was intentionally trying to keep it away from the personal things. So well, this is an example. Okay, So hello guys, we are making an intro. So yeah, this is a very basic form. So this is well better than showing a blank software screen and just talking over it, and when there's nothing going on. So I can just pause this. Yeah, so I've hit it, and there you go, we're back to normal screen. Yeah, okay, so we were in the time lapse. Yeah, so we have this time lapse thingy, and then I'm just drawing the pose. And well, I made a big mistake that I made was I did not consider the proportions, like overall height and stuff for the character in rough phase, due to which I have to like basically redraw the whole thing. Like the rough phase is not very useful for me now, except for the timings and a general idea of the pose. So I'm basically at this point I can just hide the rough phase, and I'll still do the same thing that I'm doing right now. You have to keep this in mind. So you have to keep the overall proportions of your character in mind when you're doing the rough phase. So you don't have to go very rough, like you don't even, well, you can do this, but then you'll have to do the same amount of work that you just did in the rough phase, in the clean, in the tie down phase. In summary, to save time, know the proportions of your character in the rough phase, so that you can just do the minimal work in tie down phase. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this is the phase. This I'm doing an in between and stuff. So these are just the standard part. So this is what I said in the last part. So this is an in between phase thing. Okay, so now we have this tie down done, and then the cleanup phase is the same thing. So this is the cleanup phase. Let me just hide this. Yeah, so this is what we have in the cleanup. This is basically the final animation with all the in-betweens and everything else. So let's just decrease the opacity to 20%. And yeah, so this is a cleanup phase, and I just draw over the tied down thing to just clean up the strokes and stuff. So yeah, and I think I'll add a bit more in-betweens in there. Let me just show you guys the final product in my this thing. So then after you do the cleanup, you can just color the character in. You can't see the colors because we are not in render mode. Yeah, so this is the render mode. Okay, I did not see this one. And then we also have a pen, which is just a backup. Yeah, so this is the final animation. Okay, so the the spinning pen was actually a plane with a PNG texture on it. So there you have it. Let me just, so this is the, yeah, so this is the plane that we have. So this just have a spinning texture on it. And if we just play the animation back, so if you look through the camera, you can just see it properly. So yeah, so there you have this, and then there's text right here. So these are just meshes. You can edit them and add stuff to them, and we can also make it say snow fix. Sorry, yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah, so that's the point. And then you just play the animation. As you can see, we cannot hide these text without using without using the compositing stage, but we can also use holdouts. So this is a thing in Blender, so you can use this to hide stuff behind the camera and behind everything. So yeah, so these hold things are just planes. So if we go back to this mode, which is, so these are right now over the text. So when we throw the pen away, these just move away from the text, and when it comes back, this also moves away. So this is just an object. Yeah, so when the pen comes back, we can just move this away from the text. And then where is the text? Okay, so this works like this. So this is the pen, and yeah, so in 3D scene, these are just simple planes in depth, and then you can use this just, and this is just a PNG file put over a simple plane, and these are just simple planes. So this is the overall 3D scene. You cannot see it properly in this mode. So if you want to know more about Holdouts, you can just search it on YouTube. All I have to say about Holdouts is that you can just click on this button and toggle a collect. So you cannot set a single object as holdout. You have to make a separate collection as a holdout thing. So this is the icon that shows what a holdout looks like. If I disable this, you can just see the planes in the render. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's it. And then you can just put a background and a glare and like special effects in the scene by using this compositing thing. So we can see anything because I have not rendered it yet, and I'm not even going to. Maybe I can. Yeah. So this is just a simple thing. So this puts in the background for the character. So this is the background color, and this also adds a glow, like overall glow on the scene. Or maybe we can try to put this in here and then here. Yeah, now we can get a glow on the text as well. Glow looks nicer now than before. So that's it. So this is the output node, and this is the input node, and this is the stuff that you do in between them. Yeah, so that's the video, and that's how you make the animation. And finally at the end, so this is the final product, and all the special effects to sync up with the beat are added in an editing software, which is Filmora 9. So there you go. So this is how you animate an intro in Blender Grease Pencil. And subscribe for more, because I'm putting out a full tutorial, well, a full video course on how to animate, how to bring your characters to life. So you can basically draw your characters and on a paper, and then you can just bring them into Grease Pencil and just draw over them, and then you can just animate life. Okay, so this is it, and thank you for watching. Well, please try to like the video, because this helps me with the with the engagement with all the other viewers. So yeah, that's it.